It's a new rise. Somebody lift those hands. It's a new rise. I need you to speak it over your own life tonight. It's a new rise. It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and as the intro said, it's a new horizon. There's always hope and infinite possibilities just over the horizon. And that's really what the Propel Deep Dive and the Propel community is all about. Most of you who are listening in the community certainly know this, that we get together every morning with a text of inspiration and encouragement, and then a newsletter during the week about the same. But then we get together on Wednesday evening for the Propel Deep Dive with leaders and legends, as my guest is this evening. And each guest has their own story of hope and infinite possibilities in their hearts that have propelled them to continue on in their journey. And April Diamond is no exception. This gal is an amazing, amazing woman of tremendous integrity, but commitment to what she does. She is a recording artist. She has an amazing voice. She's been a music coach as well as a real estate agent in the California LA market. So she will share her story this evening of the 5 C's, that clarity, that courage, that confidence, that commitment to what, and then compassion for herself and others that have kept her in this genre, this over the horizon mode in her life to continue on with her dreams, goals, and aspirations. Without further ado.
Hello.
Oops, looks like we lost Megan for just a second. Hopefully she comes back real fast. Everyone, April Diamond.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Megan,
here.
for that amazing introduction. Good to meet you, Angeline. That was so nice. What an amazing introduction.
We're really excited to dive into your story here. Hopefully Megan drops in really quick. Apologies for the
That's okay. Technical things. They happen.
Oh, you gotta love it.
I'm learning about her 5 C's, and I'm already inspired listening to her talk. And I'm not sure what she's going to say when she comes back on here, but I will say that the interesting thing, there she is. Okay, Megan.
I got a phone call and it booted me out. So I had to get out. Thank goodness for our producer and my associate, Angeline Moore, who just give a quick plug. April, Angeline and I met, because this is the thread of the Propel Deep Dive. Angeline and I met in business, maybe 2 years ago. And she has a summit called Fear into Faith. And a Faith Forward. So she's a faith girl. And she asked me to be on it. Now, I really didn't know her, but she had some other events, virtual events. And I watched them, and they were so well done. So well done. And I said, when we spoke, when she asked me to join this third, event that she was putting on, I said, who does this for you? And she goes, oh, I do it. Exactly. And I said, oh, my Lord, because you and I have both been on many, many things and not very well done. And so she is just a pro at what she does. And like you, and like I said in the introduction, the commitment to your craft and staying with it is all about being a champion. And so as we go into our, conversation here, I want to ask you just to give a little thumbnail sketch about young April and a little bit about, your dreams, goals when you were a young gal, and then bringing them more to today, not exactly today, but the essence of you. What drove you to doing what you're doing today?
Well, April, the little girl, was driven by her own creativity and love for music and hearing. I had so much music growing up around me. My dad played the guitar and the bass. My brother plays the guitar. My grandmother my grandmother, the big motivator when I was a child, played the organ and the piano, and she used to jump back and forth in the church services between the two. And, you know, one day I got brave and I sat on the front row with her while she played, and I started singing out, you know, just because I love the music, and I didn't know that that's what I was meant to do. But she did. She knew that. And one day she just looked at me and said, "Hey, sing, baby girl, sing. You know, don't just mouth the words. Don't just hum along. Like, sing the song." And I was like, "No, okay, I'll try it." And, you know, thank God for the people that have wisdom and forethought before us that sort of know what we're meant to do.
Yes.
And when we question our own selves, even as children, even as kids, we have a desire to do something. And we think that it's kind of far out there. It's not really attainable. It's not realistic. You know, even though I had music in my family, even though I was very much involved in music growing up through my life, it was seemingly like kind of a large undertaking to think it would go any further. But my grandmother spoke that into me, and, you know, just really stayed on me for a good year's time before I would actually, from that moment to the time that I sang when I was a little girl in church growing up, and I tell the story a lot, I caught the bug. I was scared to death to do it. Scared, you know, just absolutely terrified. But I think even when I was 8 or 9 years old, I think I realized that if you're fearing everything now, fearing this, you're going to fear more things. So in order to remove the fear, you're going to have to do the things that you're afraid of. So I really honestly set out to do the things I was afraid of. And it has brought me to this day, I have to say.
Mhm.
I've heard it said, you know, do something that scares you every day. And so I do. And I don't always have a safety net underneath me. I have prayers. I have people that believe in me. I have mentors. I have incredible people that I meet along the way, like you, and that encourage it, and people to help make that dream come true. So, you know, growing up as a kid, there were some beautiful people along the way that encouraged me and helped me, and you know, aided me for a season to keep me going. In school, I was always in musicals, and I was always auditioning. I didn't always get all the auditions, you know, and sometimes when you audition, you put yourself in a space where you get sort of bullied. You know, people pick on you, and
Yes.
who do you think you are, and that's not for you, and oh, look at her, and pick. You know, people would always, you know, the bullying and the picking on would always go on, but I just stuck to my guns in the sense of I wasn't going to let it stop me. It certainly did. It hurt my feelings? Yes. Did it stop me? No, it did not.
Of
Because
course.
what's the alternative? To listen to it or forge ahead and ignore it?
Exactly. That's the key to propelling, is that you have that clarity. You gained that clarity. Yes, your grandmother was your first champion and saw that star in you.
Yeah.
But you had, from that seed time harvest, you had that seed, but you also had that love. You had that passion.
Yeah.
Of music and singing, and she recognized that. Yeah, obviously, other than in church, you were singing, and she heard that, saw that. So she encouraged you to get out there. That was your first platform,
right?
But then, like you said, the world is not, generally speaking, is not complying with those dreams, goals, and aspirations. Because it's really everyone else's limitations that are coming forward. You know, they're lesser than. And so it's just a tragic thing, but it's factual. And so therefore, to be an encourager and doer is magnificent, because you are not only propelling yourself, but helping others.
Right.
Helping others see that they too can do and accomplish their dreams and their goals, and then rise above them. So now, where did you grow up, by the way? Where was Graham and the fam?
Southern California, in what's called the Inland Empire, you know, kind of outside of Southern Cal, about an hour or so east of LA. I should say, going east, going out towards the desert. It's like I tell people in LA, because they don't know where like San Bernardino, Yucaipa area is. It's out there. It's on their way to Palm Springs.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. But California, but you're a California girl.
yes, it's California, but
Okay.
it's kind of, it's a little bit quieter than the LA, Southern
Yeah.
California area. So it's a different dynamic out there, and it's, you know, it's very family oriented and a little quieter, and but so I had really great, you know, family around me in growing up years, but it wasn't without its, you know, difficulties and, you know, family things that happen. And, you know, I think what it is that you we all make decisions every day as to how we're going to move forward and who we're going to listen to. And when we decide we want to do something great, we have to realize that, you know, you don't get a free pass to the top. You just don't. Even if you have all the money in the world, it's just, sometimes I think, you know, when they say it's not the journey, it's not the final, it's not the final destination, it's the journey
Right.
that gets you there. I really believe that if it wasn't for the journey, understanding that that's how you have to be, you've got to learn to be resilient, and God will always bring people in your path to assist you, you know.
Right.
And we want to know the whole thing, you know. It's like, well, how far are we going to go? How's this going to go? You don't get to know that. You don't get to know that. You just, you know, you trust in what you've seen in your mind. I posted this on my Facebook, on my April Diamond Voice Coach Facebook. You trust what you see in your mind, and maybe what you see in the moment is not really resembling much of what you see in your own mind for yourself,
Right.
for what you feel like you're meant to do. But there's that hope, because you catch yourself being attached and connecting with people here and there that help make that next step happen. Maybe you're not 10 or 100 steps, but maybe the next 2 or 3 steps.
Yeah.
And then you think, well, why can't I have a bigger step? You know? So people ask me, what do you do to get into the music business? I said, I've heard this said before, get into your school choir or church choir and start developing musicality. You know, learn to sing with other people, and then audition for solos. Oh, I can never do that, April, I'm scared. Well, at every point, you're going to be facing your fears. And you know this, Megan. I don't know your full journey, but I know that you know that you're going to be faced with things that are going to seem like the giant in front of you. And you've got to really learn to look at the giant and say, you won't be stopping me today. And I know you're going to try to make it harder for me, but I will forge ahead anyway. And it's been a powerful lesson for me. So at every point, from being a little girl to singing in church, my first solo, and then joining choirs and singing solos in choirs. And by the way, I didn't get every solo. I didn't get in every musical. I tried for a lot of lead roles in musicals. I think I got 1 or 2, and I probably tried out for 20, you know, and I didn't get those. And sometimes it's disheartening when you don't get those things, because you think, oh my greatness, I could do so well in that part, you know, or I could do so well on singing that recording, or I could do so well in those things, and I didn't get it. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't think the answer is to stop.
I had a conversation just yesterday with a gentleman who is I met him on Clubhouse and through Glenn Lundy, and he has a ministry with a orphanage in Africa. And we were talking just in general, but we were talking about just what you said. And he said, wouldn't it be great, instead of breadcrumbs, that God could just give us an outline and we follow the outline? That's
the whole thing.
Right, the whole thing. And I said to him, you know, and I didn't say exactly the joys in the journey or the learning is in the lessons, but what I did say was, I don't know if we could really handle the outline. I really know that we learn through all of this, and God knows that, and basically gives us those small steps to the next step.
Yeah.
And I don't know any answers. I don't, like you just said, don't. But I do know, like you said, I'm still dealing. You know, I opened this clinic 2 years ago, and my family and friends were like, are you crazy? I mean, you just sold a brick and mortar. Why would you do this again? And I knew as I knew that I wasn't finished with so many different pieces of this. And so I did, meaning, but God put the breadcrumbs together, and that's my story, not yours. But the point is that, but I'm still learning through this on some level, not just about this piece, but then the trajectory of the next pieces that he has for me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have known those, you see?
Yeah.
And so it's really about timing, right? I mean,
It's about timing, and when you're ready, you get to graduate to the next level. And
yeah.
I think that in my journey from through school and I tried some other things too. I have to say that I was, don't quit your day job was always, the motto. Don't quit your day job. I had a lot of jobs. I did the thing that I needed to do to make money and work hard. I became a vocal coach. I trained other singers, and I wanted to be a singer, but I trained other singers, and I realized that there's a payoff to giving, making a living from seeing other people succeed. And it really fed something in me that really, I was like, wow, this is a tremendous gift that I can help give other people, but it's also tremendous for me. And learning to sing and getting my vocal performance degree in college, kind of put me in the space where I could teach professional singers and all kinds of people. But really, I leaned more towards anybody and everybody that wanted to learn to sing, because I really feel like the gift of music and singing is for everyone in whatever capacity people want to have it in. And so in the process of giving and doing that, I was making recordings, and I met my producer, David Longoria, and got involved with Del Oro Music a few years ago. Actually, it's been like 10, probably longer. And I was friends with David and Letitia and his wonderful wife, who is also a stylist and has helped me with so many things. April Diamond, she's a tremendous creator, a helper of making April Diamond everything she needs to be. And they really helped create, what April Diamond is and what her brand is and what she looks like on stage and the music and, coming from, a really conservative Christian kind of background. We were like, let's just make fun pop music. I think coming in the future, there will be a Christian album, but we wanted to just make fun pop music that everybody could listen to.
Well, I was going to ask you about your latest Billboard chart buster that's in the top 10 now, Feels So Good. And that's interesting what you said about your producers, in that they got to know you and know your secret sauce of who you are, but are crafting it in many different ways. Would that be correct to say?
Yeah, definitely. Something that fits me, but that's not a cookie cutter of, say my influences, or, we all grew up with musical influences, or, people that mentor us that we look to for guidance and, to see, how does this play out? How does this next step work in the world of singing and the big music business? And, I got a lot of resistance, I feel like, from when I made my first Billboard hit, which was Lose Control. And, it was a dance song, right? And playing in dance clubs and you can't sing that in church really. So I was like, what is she doing? But it was our idea of ways making it in the music business and making, getting our foot in the door, as an independent artist, we have to do things that are what major labels, and major artists do. And we create that as well. So that was, it was a struggle when I wasn't doing specifically Christian music, right? It was dance music, like pop music. And even myself, I was like, man, maybe we should change. And after much consideration, we stuck to the plan, and the plan is working. And did it take a long time? It did. Has it been, tough? Have there been obstacles? Yes. Have there been setbacks? Oh, yes. However, the greatest payoff is when you see your name on a Billboard chart. The first hit that took a couple of years to finally chart on the Billboard Dance Chart, which was Lose Control. And it did chart, and it's still playing in clubs today around the nation. And then the next one was an idea that my producer and I had together. He came up with the idea of remaking I Got the Music in Me, that Kiki D song from way back in the day. And he played the trumpet on it. And then I included a high school show choir. So I included the kids, because I was actually training those kids at the time in vocal coaching. They're the #1 show choir in the country. And the story is just a beautiful story because that song went to #1 on about 3 national new music radio charts and stayed on the national new music radio charts for 24 weeks. And they told us it could have gone longer. And that song was in the independent music network. It was #1 out of 3,000 songs. We were #1.
Wow.
And it was a beautiful collaboration, and it was a way to elevate the kids and show their music, incredible, like, powerfulness of that. And that took some time as well. And, you know, things that are successful a lot of times see, you know, and, you know, we have to sometimes undertake a little bit of resistance here and there, but we stuck to the plan and we worked hard and everyone did what they were supposed to do. In fact, I have to say that my team probably went above and beyond what was their duty and stayed the hours and time away from their family to make April Diamond successful. So when you have a team that's willing to give everything that they've got to be successful, you're going to win. You're going to win.
You're speaking about collaboration, not competition.
Yes.
And what's interesting is that, you know, it went to #1 and stayed there for 24 weeks and could have gone longer, and it's still, you know, recognized. And so would you say that that collaboration and that with this fantastic choir of kids and yourself, would you say that that helped then propel the next successes because it brought the spotlight on some level to you?
Yeah, I think it was a full circle moment, right? Where me pumping into them, their, you know, their greatness, and they returned it back to me by joining me. And, you know, all of our team got together and created this song and created a remake and a hit, and radio loved it. And this high school, you know, I said, hey, since your kids are singing on my record, do you think we could make a video there? And they're like, okay. And so we called up all the kids and said, bring all your neon t-shirts. And Letitia, you know, who is, again, my producer's wife, and she's an incredible stylist with lots of vision. She organized all the kids and got them, they all learned to dance. We did this all in one long, probably 18, 19-hour day. And it's an incredible thing when people come together and are willing to, you know, make things happen. And, you know, that video and that song will probably follow me my entire career.
Well, that's
because
what I was saying. That's what I was
something special. Yeah.
Say, oh, there's April Diamond. Oh, there.
Yeah.
And it will follow you. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Will.
That collaboration propelled to the next step.
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
Recently, this new song that you recorded and produced, and then because I want to the essence, and this is so good because I want people to see in every person that is on the Propel Deep Dive, they have a story. Every story is unique and different because your dreams, goals, and aspirations are different. You got, you know, what you want to do are different. Yeah. But what is a thread through everyone is that young Bob Donnell, young, you know, April Diamond, you had a secret sauce. There was something in you, and that vision and that mission continued on. And so this current song that's in the top 10, this is truly you, not a collaboration.
Right.
So how did this, because I heard you sing it live at a fabulous event in New York City.
Yes.
Fabulous event, Festival of Song, fabulous event, and you're a judge. My question basically is, give a little thumbnail sketch again to this, of this particular song, because there are people that are going to listen tonight, but also in replays, April, that are going to say, I really want to have a top 10 in the Billboard chart. So just kind of lay out how this all happens.
I think Feel So Good is, I mean, it's a great song to celebrate life and happy relationships and finding yourself in a happy place to celebrate. And I feel like it's one of those happy, just like I got the music in me, sing along songs where everyone can sing along on the radio. That's what I love about it. Turn it up and sing it in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feels So Good. We actually started recording that a few years ago. And when we make singles specifically to release, we go through many iterations of like how it's going to be. So a lot of times people think when you write a song, my producer wrote that song, by the way, excuse me, David Longoria. And we went through a few versions of it. How is the music going to go? How are what's the beat? What's the rhythm? What's the, like, how is it going to sound? What key is it going to be in? What do we need to, sometimes people really have their heart, like singers and songwriters have their heart set on a certain way of doing a song. And I know that I did in some ways, and I find myself having to adjust and readjust to things. And even though it's just me, it's still a collaboration of what is the right key, what is the right thing we're doing, what is the right thing we're saying, what will radio play, will it chart, there are many things to take into consideration when you're charting a song for radio and for national charts and things like that. And as much as you're personally attached to what it is you're singing, you also have to understand the commercial part of it. And I do understand that, and we all as a team understand that. But at the same time, we want to create and continue to have our own authenticity when we perform it and we create it and produce it. So it is a fine balance of all the details, right? And I said in an interview, I think a few months ago with another podcast, I said, we work really hard on our songs. Like I said, we go through many iterations of it to find the right balance. And there has been times where I showed up and said, I know you guys have worked on this for a really long time, but I think there's something major here that needs to change, which means they have to go back and redo and remix and spend hours and hours while I go home and do my thing, and they're in the studio working for hours. And so, I want to salute them and say thank you to my team, Go Del Oro, for doing that, because they know the pain of the next whatever 30, 40 hours it's going to take or more. But they also know that forever that song is going to be played over and over. And which, by the way, if you want to listen to it, you can go to Spotify and listen to April Diamond, and you can go to Apple Music, everything April Diamond. You'll hear all of my releases and all the streaming platforms. But that's how, we found that fine balance, and then I would come back again with some adjustments and, okay, well, do you want to re-sing that part? Yeah, let me re-sing this part. Let me redo this. And, it can go on forever. But finally, when we all agree and go, okay, this is the best for this song. And I thought it was kind of interesting. It feels so good. We went back and I did so many different types of ad libs, and we didn't use a lot of those. And then we went back and did another version. And we finally found a balance for that. I remember thinking, gosh, I wanted to include this one instead of that one. And there was that issue. It can go on forever. But the main thing is that to understand what is needed for that particular song and for where it's going and what the message is. And so for artists, what I want to say is that listen to the experts around you, because I know you have your heart set on things, but if you listen to the experts and understand that it's going to be heard by many different types of people, and a lot of times producers and program directors and people in the business will know that's the right sound, or maybe you need to make an adjustment. And when the experts tell you that, you should listen. And then as a singer, sometimes you have to change things the way that you sing it. You might have your heart set on it, but it does not fit for the song. So you've got to be flexible. Yeah.
And that's applicable to every genre that you might, it's that ego, that edging God out. You've got to listen to others who have paid their dues and are ahead of you and are experts in their fields. And that's why, there are producers and directors and lighting, camera, action, it's all of that to get that collaboration together. Right. So here you have this wonderful career that has been and is evolving. What would you say in your heart you would like to see where you will be, you personally? And I know we said about the breadcrumbs earlier. Right. So it is in the journey. But what do you and your producer, David, want to see for April Diamond?
That's a great question. I think we want to take it all the way to number one. I think we want to finish an album this year and start a tour. And April Diamond needs to continue to release new hits every year. And there's a team behind that to make that happen. And it will cost more time, and it will cost more of what we're already doing times, 10 or 100. And I see how the machine works now, and I understand what will be required next. So what has been required in the past, although it will be similar, it's going to be an even bigger undertaking. So when you know what you want is much bigger, you've got to create a capacity to absorb that and make a plan and say, okay, I want to go bigger this time, because that's the natural progression of this. And it's interesting. I asked my students, because I still do train a few students in my spare time. And I asked them, I'm like, you've been with me for what, 7-8 years? Like literally, I've had students stay with me for many years. What do you think if April Diamond just didn't make music anymore? I just didn't make hits. And one of my students said, April, don't do that. Please don't do that to us. We're so excited when your songs come out. We feel like we're a part of it. I'm kind of summarizing what she said.
Yes.
But she said, no, please, at all costs, whatever it costs, please keep making music, because we feel like, she goes, I'm speaking for myself, but I think I speak for other people that you worked with. When you release hits, we feel like we're a part of it because you make it for us. And I was like, wow, it's not just about me.
Right.
So what I want to say to people that are doing what I do, you feel the heat and you feel the pressure and you feel like you're under the gun and you feel like, man, it's caving in. I could do something else that doesn't require so much of my soul here. And I could certainly make a living doing something else that's not so much, pressure, whatever. But you're right. Yes, Pamela, it's your passion and your purpose. And it's helping other people. You don't know the people that you're inspiring right out there that are watching. There are people that are going to watch this on the replay and go, how did she do it? And it's the struggle and the journey, and then the succeeding and even the failing, in the failing,
yes,
and you go back and succeed. If you don't fail, how do you know what success really feels like?
It's failing.
And
you're learning from that experience and taking from it. And like you were speaking about David and your team, you all have, you've been together a long time now, and and they're pros, yes, but you're learning and growing together. Yes. And as that guest who was joining us and said passion and purpose, that's essentially how I close our segment, and is about that. Meaning, because like you said, if you didn't, like, I'll just share about myself. I'm a creative. Now, I'm not, I was thrown out of choir in 4th grade, so music is not my genre. The nun heard a bad note, came down each aisle and said, it's you, out. Okay, so obviously it crushed me, because I'm still talking about it, years later. But the point.
Well, I by the way, not to interrupt you, but so many people came to me with those stories as a vocal coach and still do, and we can fix that.
You're reading my mind there, actually. But I share that because I say that music was not my field of favor, okay? But creative is. And if I wasn't creating something on some level, that could be preparing for this, doing an e-blast, on a new promotion, a new whatever. If I wasn't creating, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe.
Sure.
So my passion is creating. So I'm going to ask you, I mean, you're in a very, very creative genre, that's for sure. But what is your passion and what is your purpose?
Yes, that's a good question. I think I have a lot of passions. And I think the passion of singing and making music is inspirational to a lot of people, because I think there are a lot of people out there like you and others that attempt to make music and are discouraged by other people. I think that's a real thing. And it's not just at the level that I do it as becoming a singer in the big music business world, but I think in the world of singing in general, it's very broad. There are a lot of places you can sing. I think singing is good for the soul. And I think making a joyful noise is a real thing. but you can improve that joyful noise. Okay. You can let the voice out. That's my
I
vocal
have
training.
my coach now, so
Yes, you do. And I teach everyone to learn to sing and let the voice out. I'm not so typical vocal coach in that sense. I don't tell people that they can't sing. I draw a map from where they are to where they want to be, and then we take the journey and we get there. And science even proves that if you Google the effects of singing and if the voice can be improved, you'll see that the voice can improve. And I have lots of proof of that, lots of students' testimonials. And I do a Monday night class that's a free Zoom. If anyone wants to join, you will hear from them directly, and they'll tell you the stories of the frustration and the triumph. That for me, I think the inspiration is the first thing, right? And the fact that when people hear my music, they get excited and they're like, wow, that's just really happy and fun. I really like it, April. It's really fun to sing along to your music. I want to make music that makes people want to sing along and that they enjoy the story and they feel somehow they're involved in it and they love it. And I think that there needs to be more fun, happy pop music that we can all enjoy. And I think the purpose is to inspire the next generation of artists, and in particular, those that are independent artists that have a rough go at it. I feel your pain all the way on that. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of them, and it's very difficult because it requires much effort by many people, and it's not cheap. And you're going to have to use everything that you've got and then some. And then you have to pray for the gaps because you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get from here to there. And I want to be at the highest level of success a singer can be so that when I'm up receiving my Grammy on that day, I can be thankful to those and to God and to everybody that got me there. And then I want to create the machine that helps all the next generation of artists that are coming up behind me to do the exact same thing and maybe do it even bigger than me, whatever it takes. Somebody needs to lead the charge and I'm happy to do it.
That's it. That's it right there. It's that inspiration. You did go to the Grammys. I saw that on.
I did on a big rainy day, just like pouring.
And when people in your industry see you, do they understand your genre? Do they say, oh, you just create happy music? I mean, are people getting to know you in the industry?
I think so.
That's exciting.
They are getting to know me now. And because the category, we made a bid to, I was on the FYC for your consideration, under consideration for a Grammy nomination. I didn't get one, but a lot of people voted for me, I think. And a lot of people supported my record. And through that, and my Billboard, being in Billboard magazine, which was amazing. I think a lot of people got to know me and my music more, and I had more conversations with a lot of artists and people at the Grammys, and that was good. And it definitely brought some recognition and people joining my social media and listening to the music. And I think that me being myself in my big pink dress, because I love pink, I'm just being myself. I'm kind of like, I'm pop music, but I love old Hollywood, and so a lot of that stuff inspires me, to some of that old Hollywood look. And I think that people appreciate that. There's a lot of really modern stuff out there. And then I'm somewhere in between modern and old Hollywood. And I have my moments where I'm back and forth. And, but it's, I like a lot of things.
Back to branding, like you said. And
correct.
People are, when you think of Taylor Swift, you always know, no matter where she goes in the trajectory, she is a country gal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the endearing quality about Taylor Swift. I really like her. And I like the fact that she can pivot and be, relatable and she continues on in her journey, and she's unstoppable. She just keeps going. And I think that I want to be unstoppable, and I continue to be. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us come up against these barriers and walls where we say, or we hear people say, what are you doing here? I think that's what happened when I got my real estate license. It's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, it looks interesting to me. Although I haven't sold a whole lot, I will say that because I've been busy with music, that journey of doing that added an element of like organization in my mind and inspiration to figure out how does entertainment and real estate come together. And you know what? They do.
Mm-hmm.
I was on an episode of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles with Josh Flagg. I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't checked. But that was tremendously fun. And I was like, okay, now I get it. You know, people want to sell real estate on TV and on YouTube. So
Well, that to me makes perfect sense. I'm talking about you getting a real estate license. First off, it's something in your pocket that you
correct.
always do. But also, again, back to branding and marketing, you have to be out there. You have to get to be known. And what better way to be with Josh there on $1 Million?
He was a blast. It was so much fun. That house was incredible.
Yeah.
Just the house had a museum and a tiki bar and a 45-seat theater in it, and just it was beyond. It was like beyond.
Yeah. It's very exciting what is transpiring. But again, you are we all are. Let's just say this: we all are one of a kind. We all are. But you're but you are embracing that specialness, which is such a gift, and it's such a gift for all of us to see that. No matter who and what you encounter, it doesn't matter. Beyonce and Jay-Z, it does not matter. You will be April Diamond, and that's to me what success at a later point of your life is about, because you have gone through all of that growing and evolving, and now you're just going to be you. You're going to grow. Just to encapsulate what you shared, you have learned, you've grown, but you now respect truly others and your team, and you understand you cannot do it alone. Cannot. And that's the piece to success. It's that collaboration and that commitment to yourself, but also the team. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
As well.
The team and the idea that there's more coming. Like you get to a point and I will say, after the struggle, you get tired. You get worn out and you're like, okay, I want to take a year off or take this time off. And you can't, because the machine is moving.
Right.
And so I want to tell people, like, it's kind of a side thing here, but you really need to keep yourself in a space where you can go every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you taking care of your health, like you talk about these things, you have your own regimen that you do, taking care of your health and mentally preparing for your day, and mentally preparing for all the things that are coming at you, and mentally preparing for having to post on social media all the time and be engaged all the time and be on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it. And I will say that some days I don't want to be on, and there are days that I just kind of, I want to lay in bed a little bit longer and go, okay, I just need to breathe for a couple of hours here, and I'll get back to it.
That is important. I have one last question of saying no. I am offered many, many things, and a lot of it is pay for play. And some of it is very valuable. Some of it is very important, meaning mentors, coaches, things like you shared.
Sure.
But how do you evaluate what is going to propel your next step? They're all good. Don't misunderstand. They're all fabulous opportunities, but you can't say yes to everything. How do you weigh that, April? And how have you weighed that through this growth of this career?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I defer to the experts. I talk to people in places that I have lots of respect for and understand that they're mentors and they're experts in those areas. And I find out more about what it is that I'm about to say yes to. Mm-hmm. And I do a little Google searching, and I do a little, looking around on social media, and you can tell what's going on with someone or something or some event or whatever it is you're committing to find out if it's really going to bring out the best in you, or if you're just getting on there because somebody wants to get a bunch of your followers or something. Right. It's what are they after you for? And I respect people that bring other people on, because I have Live with April Diamond on my Instagram as well and on my social media, and I like to interview people, and I hope my people will follow them and do all that. But it's I think the thing is that if you do things that you feel are going to make other people happy because you're trying to pacify someone that is not happy with you, or somebody that's been on you about doing something for them, well, why, you said you were going to do this, da, 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 you know, things change and seasons change, and if it's not the right thing for that moment, you do need to say no. And I'm sorry if that person, you know, gets upset with you. You know, if you make promises, you should keep them, but at the same time, you don't necessarily have to commit to something ongoing, because if it's not the right thing, you're going to bring things to yourself that are going to make you frustrated, and they're going to bring you down. And frankly, the other party or whoever you're involved with in some kind of, you know, event or whatever it is, you know, it's not going to gel. And I brought some things onto myself, and I was stayed too long at the party, or I, you know, have done things that I went back and said, okay, I don't think that was the right thing to do, and from now on, I'm going to approach it like this. And this will be my response. And when you do that, when you say no, watch the really good things come into your path. And then these really good things and these people that are directing you in a certain way, you look back at those decisions and you go, oh, well, now I get why I'm not supposed to do that, because I'm here now. Okay. And it's, you don't, I mean, you want to be giving and helpful and inspiring, but you don't owe, like, I don't know how to say this right, but you don't put yourself in a space where you feel inclined to, you know, I have to do this for this person because I said I would. Yeah, that's one thing. But you're not obligated. You're obligated to yourself to become the greatest version of yourself, not selfish, but to the plan that is on the books for yourself. You need to stick to that plan, and you've got to make those hard decisions. And sometimes people don't understand.
I love what you said. And when you say no, watch and see what comes, because that's creating that space for the universe, for God to work, because it is working to propel you. And if you block it, and we don't look at it that way, we look at it as, oh, I missed out on this opportunity. But it's listening to that still, quiet, small voice that God is always speaking to us, and we just have to trust that. You said trust earlier, and it's about that trust and that knowingness. It is. Well, I am so thrilled that you said yes to this, and
yes, of course.
Myself and Angeline Moore, as well as the Propel community that has been here. And we're live on Instagram and Facebook, obviously, and also YouTube and LinkedIn and Clubhouse. My dear friends in Clubhouse, hello, hello.
And Clubhouse.
Yes, it's been a big part of my life for the last 3 years. So with that said, though, April, thank you so much. And I really look forward to many more adventures with you, like we had in New York, and just seeing, but also seeing your career just expand to beyond what your wildest dreams are. Just beyond.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful woman inside and out, and thank you so much.
Thank you. And it was such a pleasure. I just want to tell everybody it was such a pleasure to meet you and to be in the car coming from the airport. I had no idea what was happening, and I did not know who I was in the car with, and you turned out to be like Superwoman, and everybody knows you, and you're just an absolute, you know, wonderful example of, you know, great women to follow. So that I'm blessed to have met you and spent time with you, and you just spoke into me so many amazing things. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, love. Be blessed.
Thank you.
Anything else, Angeline? Would you like to add?
I just want to shout out to all our viewers. We have on Facebook, we had Meg Morgan Hayes giving a shout out, and that she loved this interview, and it's been all about the journey, and that April has helped so many people during the way. Pamela McClure Duran has been on commenting. Brian on YouTube has been commenting. And in Clubhouse, I just want to say hello to you guys. Jay, Ginger, Jay, Edward, Renee, Mr. Feline, A-Star, Cheryl, Jessica, Leverage, Jesse, and Motaz. Thank you so much for diving in. Make sure you register at the top. What I'm going to do for the outro, April, because I'm really excited for everyone to hear your song, I'm just going to share a YouTube video of your music, if that's okay. I'm super
Oh, I love that, Angeline. I love it a lot. But let me just take it our guests, okay? If I
Yeah.
can, before we close out with the outro. Oh, I love that. And what we're doing, April, I just want to share this with all our guests, is that we are, this segment is with YouTube, obviously, but on YouTube on the Megan DiMartino page. So please go there and subscribe and be part of the YouTube page, but it also becomes a podcast. But over the years, I did a podcast called Unique Leaders Live. And so now we're going to do an outro that then Angeline and the team are going to then put all of these up and go back to the others and work up, yes, and put them up on all of the podcasting platforms. So that is happening. So we're excited about that as well. So
awesome.
And who is on Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, join the Propel community. I'm sure Angeline has put the link across throughout the evening, but do join, because then you will get notifications of everything that we do in the Propel community. So do join us with that. So with that said, yoo-hoo, let's go. Thank you, Angeline, for this was such a special thing.
All right, I'm going to play the song. We're going to go with the Feel So Good. That's the one that just recently hit #1, you said?
Number 2.
Top 10?
That one's in the top 10 right now on national radio. Yes. So stream it on Spotify. Yes.
Is it okay if I play the YouTube video? Will that
Sure.
Will that work?
Sure.
Right.
Fabulous. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
It takes time to make a love worthwhile. Body and mind in sync to make me smile. If you're tough enough, then you can give it a try. If you care about us, don't let this long go by. When you hold me, it feels so right. You know how to love me, keep me warm all night. You make me feel so safe. Your arms squeezing me tight. Now I know that it's love, because it feels so good. Every time I think I'm the luckiest girl alive. Wanna tell the world, never had a feeling, never thought I could, and now it feels so good. Yeah, ooh, it feels so good. Oh yeah, yeah, it feels so good. You must feel I wear my heart on my sleeve, but that's not me. I usually hide my feelings. If you wanna break through, I have to be close to you. It's something you can't see, only you and me. When you hold me, it feels so right. You know how to love me, keep me warm all night. You make me feel so safe. Your arms squeezing me tight. Now I know that it's love, because it feels so good. Every time I think I'm the luckiest girl alive. Wanna tell the world, never had a feeling, never thought I could, and now it feels so good. Yeah, ooh, it feels so good. Oh yeah, yeah, it feels so good. Ooh, yeah. Feels so good. Oh yeah. It feels so good. Oh, it feels so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels so good. You know it does. It feels so good. It feels so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling good. It's feeling nice. Want you to know that what we got is powerful as fire and ice. Not playing around. I mean what I say. I'm telling you that what I found in